fans, and welcome to the Fact TV broadcast of tonight's virtual swim meet. During a normal season, teams would compete in several multi-team invitationals throughout the season. Unfortunately, this season, due to the pandemic, most of these invites have been canceled. This week, the Verona area Mount Horeb Wildcats will compete in a statewide virtual invitational sponsored by the Wisconsin Interscholastic Swim Coaches Association. Teams from across the state are invited to submit results from in-person or virtual meets conducted this week. All of these submissions will be compiled and the final results for the invitational will be announced on Sunday.
Good evening, swimming fans, and welcome to the first annual Wisconsin Interscholastic Swim Coaches Association Virtual Invitational. Tonight's first event is the 200-yard Medley Relay. Swimming in lane 4, Oscar Carabell, Eamon Van Houten, Brendan Kyle, and John B.
All right, backstroker, step in. Place your feet, take your mark.
So as you can see, we have one relay team swimming in this event. Oscar Carabell is swimming the backstroke. Eamon Van Houten will swim the breaststroke. Brendan Kyle will follow up with the butterfly, and John B will wrap up with the freestyle. Each swimmer will swim a down and back of 50 yards. So you can see up on the board there, each split will be taken for each athlete in their relay. So Oscar Carabell's split of 29.78 seconds for the backstroke. So this is Eamon Van Houten swimming the breaststroke. His relay leg will be concluded, and he will hand it off to Brendan Kyle, who will swim the butterfly. As you can see on the board there, our breaststroke split of 34.83 seconds. Here we have Brendan Kyle wrapping up his leg, and finally we have John B swimming the freestyle leg of the 200-yard Medley Relay. Since this is the first time this particular relay has been swum at the Verona Aquatic Center, it of course will be the pool record. We will also swim this relay in the other two sessions as well. So we'll see how this time holds up. And as you can see there, our final time, the team time of 2 minutes, 2.31 seconds. So if you recall last Friday, we did not have any relays in the meet, and that was because Public Health Madison-Dane County has issued a new order, and they are at this point allowing relay heats to be swum.
Guys, hop down. Your start is over. Great job hopping up there, bud.
The next event is the 200-yard freestyle. Swimming in lane 4, sophomore Liam Updegrove. Yeah! And swimming in lane 5, freshman Caleb Ross.
Take your mark.
All right, so as Bill mentioned, this is the 200-yard freestyle. And both these swimmers, Liam Updegrove and Caleb Rost, are chasing the pool record, which was set last Friday by Connor Arneson at 152.07. Of course, the 200-yard freestyle would be 8 lengths of the pool. So as these two guys are finishing up their second length, and you can see their splits listed there. And it looks like a pretty even matchup here between Liam Updegrove and Caleb Rost. Liam swimming in the foreground, lane 4, has a slight advantage as they reach the halfway point. As they make the turn to complete their 6th length. Looks like a pretty even matchup once again. Maybe a slight edge to Liam Updegrove in lane 4 in the foreground. Caleb Rost in lane 5. And as the two swimmers make the turn, this is their final length to complete the 200-yard freestyle. And we will see how they come in terms of their final result. And in a really tight race there, Caleb Rost just barely out-touches Liam Updegrove in 2 minutes flat, 0.68 compared to 2 minutes flat, 0.86 seconds. So if you just switch those two numbers around, very close heat indeed. So as we prepare for the next event, which is the 200-yard
individual medley. Swimming in lane 4, freshman Max Jones. And swimming in lane 5, freshman Calvin Patton.
Take your mark.
So in the 200-yard individual medley, or typically referred to as the IM, each swimmer will swim 2 lengths of the butterfly, the backstroke, the breaststroke, and the freestyle. And you can see thus far Max Jones is off to an early lead, swimming the butterfly stroke. And as they touch up after 2 lengths, you can see now they have flipped over to the backstroke. Max Jones in the foreground in lane 4, or on your left as you see it, holding an early lead over Calvin Patton, both freshmen. And as they make the turn back, completing the backstroke, they will turn and do the breaststroke. Once again in the near ground, Max Jones has a slight lead in lane 4. Calvin Patton just touching up. One thing to note with some of these swimmers, typically you're going to have swimmers that have a kind of a dominant stroke or something that they are the best at. Maybe that's their strength, and then maybe one of the other strokes they're not quite as strong as. And so, you know, you'll see that the splits can really vary within this event. And as they head home for the breaststroke section, Max Jones in lane 4 continuing to open up a little bigger lead over Calvin Patton. When they touch up here, they will do the final 50 yards using the freestyle. As you can see up on the board there, the pool record at the top of your screen is held by Avery Bloss, which was swam last week in a time of 2:06.73. And as they head for home for the final time, Max Jones is about ready to touch up. And his final time, 2 minutes, 20 seconds, .46. Calvin Patton, just a few yards away here, will touch up. And his time of 2 minutes, 30.67 seconds. And that is a season best for both of these, as that's their first time swimming this event. So congratulations to both Max and Calvin. And as you can see, our next event is the 50-yard freestyle. So we'll look to Bill for the lane assignment.
The next event is the 50-yard freestyle. Swimming in lane 4, sophomore Oscar Carabell. And swimming in lane 5, freshman Eamon Van Houten.
Take your mark.
And into the pool. This is a quick one, the 50-yard freestyle. It's basically down and back as fast as you can go. Oscar Carabell in lane 4 is just off to a slight early lead. Eamon Van Houten trailing just behind. Both these swimmers have swum this race before, so we'll see how they come in compared to their season best. And it is Oscar Carabell with a 0.7 of a second improvement from his swim last week, and Eamon Van Houten, wow, with a almost 2.5 second improvement on his time trial time. We are just starting up with the 100-yard butterfly.
Take your mark.
In lane 4, we have junior Brendan Kyle, and in lane 5, freshman John B. They will swim 4 lengths of the pool in the 100-yard butterfly. Now, just a note to those, if you were wanting to catch the first segment of our coverage, we did have a little bit of a technical difficulty earlier on with the signal, and we will be replaying those first 4 races during the 30-minute break between this first and second session. And in the foreground there in lane 4 with a slight lead is junior Brendan Kyle, followed very closely by freshman John B. And as they are making the final turn and heading for home here in the 100-yard butterfly, in lane 4, it is Brendan Kyle with just a slight lead over freshman John B. Both swimmers looking to best their time trial performances, and it looks like they're going to do that. So touching up in 1 minute 13.29 seconds is Brendan Kyle, and coming in at 1 minute 15.31 seconds is John B. Both swimmers with a large 10+ second improvement on their time trial swims. So congratulations to both of those gentlemen. Okay, as you
next, the 100-yard freestyle. Lane 3, Calvin Patton. Lane 4, Liam Updegrove. Lane 5, Caleb Ross. Lane 6, Max Jones.
And as you can see, we have a full slate of 4 swimmers for the 100-yard freestyle. And off to a bit of an early lead in lane 5 is freshman Caleb Rost. He's followed closely by Max Jones in lane 6, Liam Updegrove in lane 4, and Calvin Patton in lane 3. As they touch up after 50 yards, it is still in lane 5, Caleb Rost with a slight lead. Moving into second is Liam Updegrove in lane 4, followed by Max Jones and Calvin Patton. And as they head home, the final 25 yards of the 100-yard freestyle, it is Caleb Rost with about a length's lead over Liam Updegrove, and there is Caleb Ross touching up at 53.11 seconds, followed by Caleb Ross at 54.99. In third, in a very close third, was Max Jones, followed by Calvin Patton. All swimmers swimming their season best. And as you can see, our next event in the pool is the 500-yard freestyle.
Up next, the 500-yard freestyle in lane 4, Oscar Carabell.
And as you can imagine, as Oscar contemplates his swim, keeping in mind that is 20 lengths, and at the opposite end, he does have a counter there, as you can see in lane 4. And this is truly a test of your strong will, because when you're swimming this race by yourself, it's a very long race, very taxing, one that you really have to pace yourself, obviously, swimming 20 lengths of the pool. And this is Oscar's first time this season swimming the 500, so whatever performance he does turn in, that of course will be his season best. So you can kind of see each time that is actually 2 lengths of the pool that time registers. So his 29.15 is after 2 lengths of the pool. And as you can see, he's completed the 3rd length. So while Oscar is completing these 20 lengths, just a reminder, the swimmers on the team are broken up into 3 groups as a result of the pandemic. There's about 8 to 9 boys in each group for practice. The Public Health Madison-Dane County does not permit more than 10 people for an indoor gathering. And so this is the first session of 3 that we will be swimming tonight. There will be 30-minute warm-up periods between each group. And as a result of this, we unfortunately do have a few swimmers, such as Oscar here in the 500, who do have to swim this race by themselves. So as you can see here, touching up after 6 lengths. You can notice also his split time for every 2 lengths, as we noted earlier. So while Oscar is completing the 8th length of his swim, we'll just point out that the WIAA boys high school season officially started on November 23rd. At that time, Public Health Madison-Dane County did not allow indoor gatherings of any size, so the Wildcats started doing dryland workouts and yoga on their own. The Verona Aquatic Facilities reopened on November 30th, allowing the boys to come in for 60-minute workouts on their own. The team held their first in-person workout on Saturday, December 19th. For some, this was their first swimming workout since last season. Others have continued their training during the pandemic with local club teams, sometimes practicing outside Dane County. The team currently swims 6 days a week, and in a typical week, they have 90-minute swimming workouts Monday through Thursday and Saturday, with a virtual meet on Friday. In addition, they do strength training 2 days a week for 45 minutes in our beautiful new Strength and Fitness Center at the high school. After school, 2 practice groups will train at the new Aquatic Center, and a 3rd group, working on a rotating basis, will practice at the Verona Natatorium, which is housed, of course, at the old high school, which is now Badger Ridge Middle School. So here we have Oscar finishing up 12 lengths of his 20-length swim in the 500-yard freestyle. You can also kind of take a little peek at his split times every 2 lengths. And those things are really important, to really help the swimmers in terms of their pacing. Like I mentioned earlier, the 500 by far and away the distance event in swimming. You can see his total running time there, approaching 4 minutes. And so he has completed 14 lengths of the pool, and so his lap counter down at the far end is going to show him the 15 sign to show him that he has 5 more lengths to swim in this 500-yard freestyle. All right, you can see Oscar Carabell, sophomore, touching up for length 16. So he has 4 lengths to go, 2 times down and back. And as he makes the turn and heads back, he will have 1 more time down and back, 2 lengths of the pool after he completes this length and touches up. And as the horn sounds, Oscar Carabell has 1 time down and back to complete his 500-yard freestyle. And as you can see there on the screen, his lap counter showing him that he is going to be finished at the end of this length. And as sophomore Oscar Carabell touches up on the wall, his total time of 5 minutes 53.20 seconds. Of course, his first swim of the year at this event, so his season best. So as he goes throughout the season, he will have that initial time to try and beat as he would swim this event again in a subsequent meet.
Up next, the 200-yard freestyle relay. In lane 4, Ross, Updegrove, Jones, and Patton.
And as we do prepare for the 200-yard freestyle, Caleb Rost will start us off.
Take your mark.
And as you can imagine, with 200 yards, that is 50 yards per swimmer, so a quick down and back. So this is very much a sprint event. As Caleb touches up, and he is heading back, and next into the pool will be Liam Updegrove. You'll be able to catch a glimpse of Caleb's split as he touches the wall. 24.81 for Caleb Rost in the 50-yard freestyle. So as Liam Updegrove makes his way back, he will be replaced in the pool by Max Jones. And there is the split time for Liam Updegrove in at 25.2 seconds. And here comes Max Jones completing his 50 yards of the 200-yard freestyle relay. And finally finishing up will be Calvin Patton. And there is Max Jones's split of 26.44. And as you can imagine in a relay, that's one of those races where the adrenaline really pumps when you've got some competition and you've got 8 lanes filled with swimmers jumping in at different times. And you've got the crowd here really spurring everyone on. But as Calvin Patton reaches the line to touch, the total time of 142.51 is, of course, a pool record.
With the 142.51, congratulations.
Now, unfortunately, if you've been following along, you'd have to do some math in order to figure out Calvin's split time. I guess his folks at home watching this will have to have the stopwatch out, and hopefully we'll get a chance to time him. Our final event, as you can see, of this first session is the 100-yard backstroke. And since it is the final event, you can hear the slow clap going on down on the deck.
Our final event of the session, 100-yard backstroke. In lane 3, Brendan Kyle. Lane 4, Eamon Van Houten. And lane 5, John B.
For this 100 backstroke, step in.
So as you can see with the backstroke, all swimmers will step into the pool and start in the water.
Place your feet. Take your mark.
And so we have in lane 3, junior Brendan Kyle. In lane 4, off to an early lead, is freshman Eamon Van Houten. And in lane 5, we also have freshman John B. The 100-yard backstroke, of course, being 4 lengths of the pool, so as they head back, they are completing 50 yards, or the halfway point. And in lane 4, touching up first in the middle is freshman Eamon Van Houten. Very close here for second. Up on the top of your screen is in lane 5, John B. And in lane 3, junior Brendan Kyle. So as you see your screen on the left-hand side, of course, is lane 3. Lane 4 being in the middle, there is Eamon Van Houten heading back to finish up his race. And in lane 5, John B. All of these swimmers have a previous mark in this event from a time trial. But let's see, I think Eamon Van Houten is going to break his time trial mark by 7 seconds, coming in at 109.71. And touching up next is John B. in lane 5. He will better his mark from the time trial by about 4 seconds. And in lane 3, Brendan Kyle finishing up, he will have about a 2-second improvement from his time trial mark of 125.82. Good evening once again, swimming fans, and welcome to Fact TV's broadcast of tonight's Verona area Mount Horeb virtual swim meet. During a normal season, teams would compete in several multi-state invitationals or multi-team invitationals throughout the season. Unfortunately, this season, due to the pandemic, most of these invites have been canceled. This week, the Verona area Mount Horeb Wildcats will compete in a statewide virtual invitational sponsored by the Wisconsin Interscholastic Swim Coaches Association. Teams from across the state are invited to submit results from in-person or virtual meets conducted this week. All of these submissions will be compiled, and the final results for the invitational will be announced on Sunday. This evening marks the second official meet at the new Verona Aquatic Center. For those of you who tuned in last week to watch the Wildcats' first virtual dual meet against the Middleton Cardinals, you will be happy to know the Wildcats defeated Middleton in the varsity competition by a score of 76-52, while they were narrowly defeated in the JV competition by a score of 65-62.
Good evening, swimming fans, and welcome to session 2 of the first annual Wisconsin Interscholastic Swim Coaches Association Virtual Invitational. Verona Aquatic Center site. The first event for the session is the 200-yard Medley Relay. Swimming in lane 4, Charlie Olson, Alex Gundro, Ethan Risley, and George Rotterman.
So as we begin the 200-yard Medley Relay, Charlie Olson is first in the pool, swimming the backstroke, so he will swim 2 lengths of the pool, just down and back. And he will hand it off to Alex Gundrum, who will swim the breaststroke. Now the pool record was just set in the first session, so these boys in this relay team will be going after that previous record. And into the pool is Alex Gundrum to swim the breaststroke. He will be followed by Ethan Risley swimming the fly, and finally George Rothamer swimming the freestyle. As you can see, Alex completing his breaststroke portion of the 200-yard medley relay. You can see the time there in the upper left-hand corner. And not only will you see the total time, but there is Alex's split time for his 50-yard breaststroke. And in the pool, swimming the butterfly is senior Ethan Risley. And as he touches up at the far end, he's making his way back to the starting line where George Rothamer will swim the 50-yard freestyle portion of this medley relay. And into the pool he goes. Ethan Risley's split in the butterfly is 27.66. And as George Rothamer turns for home here, swimming the final strokes of the medley relay, their total team time, 1 minute 54.33
And with that time,
seconds.
1:54.33, we have a new pool record. Congratulations, boys.
And as announced, at least until session 3 has something to say about it, we have a new pool record of 1 minute 54.33 seconds, unseating the first session time that was established by the team of Oscar Carabell, Eamon Van Houten, Brendan Kyle, and John B.
In lane 4, Chris Loss. And in lane 5, Jackson Penn.
And in the 200-yard freestyle, we have 2 seniors swimming. In the foreground there is in lane 4, Christopher Lofts. And in the background, lane 5 is Jackson Pent. And Christopher Lofts off to a very good start there off the block. They will swim 4 lengths of the pool for this 200-yard freestyle. You can see the pool record was set by Connor Arneson at 152.07 last Friday. And we'll take a quick peek to see how each of these swimmers is going to compare to that current pool record. And you can see Christopher Lofts in lane 4, swimming very strongly as he reaches the halfway point of the 200-yard freestyle. He is on the left of your screen, and Jackson Pent is in lane 5 on the right side of your screen. Christopher swam this event last week with a time of 1:56.91, so we'll see how he compares this week. Jackson, to this point, this is his first swim in the 200-yard freestyle, so it, of course, will be his season best. All right, take that back. I think I was remiss. I might have said that this is a 4-length race. This is 8 lengths in distance. And so Christopher Lofts is turning for home now, his final length of the pool. And we'll see where he matches up with his previous time from last week. And at the wall, Christopher Lofts shaves about a half second off his previous time. His time tonight, 1 minute 56.36 seconds. Jackson Pent in lane 5 is finishing up his 200-yard freestyle. This will be his season best, and his time is 2 minutes 14.9 seconds. And as we get set for the 200-yard IM, the pool record holder from last week is Avery Bloss. He will be swimming in session 3 this evening. So our two competitors here in the foreground is junior Luke Bennon in lane 4, and in the background is junior Nathan Roseboom in lane 5. They are completing the butterfly section of the individual medley. Now they will be transitioning to the backstroke. Both swimmers off to a very strong start. You can see everybody's got their own kind of strategy for that backstroke swim. You know, some swimmers will kind of hug the side there, trying to get their bearings, as you are going backwards, of course, kind of hard to tell, and some will maybe kind of be in more of the middle of the lane. So as we transition now to the breaststroke, this is the third leg of the individual medley. You can see their split times there for the backstroke. In lane 4, that is junior Luke Bennon with a slight lead over junior Nathan Roseboom. And as you can see on your screen, on the left is Luke Bennon, and on the right was Nathan Roseboom. And as Nathan touches for home there, he is going to complete his individual medley with the freestyle. You can see the split times on the board there for that particular leg of the breaststroke. And as that is in fact Luke Bennon making the final turn for home. This is his first swim of the year in this particular event, so this will be his season best of 2 minutes, 3.99 seconds, which in fact is a new pool record. And touching up in second in that heat was Nathan Roseboom with a time of 2 minutes, 9.47 seconds. So both swimmers with a season best. Luke Bennon, our new pool record holder, until session 3. We'll have a chance to say something about that.
In lane 4, senior Ethan Ridley, and in lane 5, freshman Charlie Olson.
And we're off with the 50-yard freestyle. Just a quick down and back, and it is in lane 4, Ethan Risley, a senior here at Verona Area High School, and freshman Charlie Olson in lane 5. And as they make the turn for home, it is very close, and they came in seated very close together. So we'll see if they can better their previous time this season. And as they touch up, in lane 4, Ethan Risley with a season best of 26.93, followed by Charlie Olson, also his season best of, lost it there, they took my time away, but take my word for it, he bettered his 28.31 from last week. We will be starting up very shortly with the 100-yard butterfly. We will,
all right, next event,
as you can see, there it is, our announcer is ready to give our lane assignments.
In lane 4, junior Nathan Roseboom.
Thank you much.
And as Nathan dives into the pool for the 100-yard butterfly, the pool record, Oscar Best from last week, has the pool record, as you can see on your screen, at 51.33 seconds. That is a very stellar time. Nathan swam in the time trial a time of 57.14, so we'll see where he comes in as he makes his progress through the season. So at the midway point, you can see his split time there of 26.09, so he looks well on his way to his season best. And Nathan certainly has the challenge of having to swim this race on his own and really having to set his own pace. And so lots of credit go to these swimmers that have to swim in their own very own heat. So touching up at the wall, his time of 56.45 seconds. That is, in fact, his season best in the 100-yard butterfly.
Up next, event 6, boys 100-yard freestyle. In lane 3, sophomore Alex Gundrum. In lane 4, senior Jackson Pent. And in lane 5, sophomore George Rothberg.
And as we start the 100-yard freestyle, that of course is 4 lengths of the pool, 2 times down and back, and they are off to a pretty even start this first 25 yards, and as they make the turn back, you can see we're still pretty tight. Maybe a slight advantage in lane 3 is Alex Gundrum, followed by George Rothamer and Jackson Pent. You can see their split time there, mostly in the 27 to 28 range. These are all going to be season bests for these swimmers if they can continue this pace. In lane 3, opening up a slight advantage is Alex Gundrum, followed by Jackson Pent in lane 4 and George Rothamer in lane 5. And as they head for the final touch-up, you can see in lane 3, Alex Gundrum, a time of 57.33 seconds. That's a 9-second improvement for him. Jackson Pent in at 58.84, and George Rothamer in at 58.50. That is about a 3.5 second best for his season. So our next event, and we'll have some lap counters head to the far end of the pool. You can maybe see some folks heading that direction. We have 2 competitors this time in the 500-yard freestyle. In the first session, we only had 1, and so that was pretty taxing. If you recall, if you were with us earlier, we had Oscar Carabell swimming on his own, and that's a pretty tough task for anyone to swim that distance and to do it on your own. So it's nice that we have 2 competitors in this particular heat of the 500-yard freestyle. And you can see at the far end of the pool there, our lap counters are getting their little counting boards and getting some instructions from one of the officials.
Up next, event 7, boys 500-yard freestyle. In lane 4, senior Chris Locks. In lane 5, senior Ethan Risley.
All right, so as you can see or hear, we have a race that's loaded with seniors, some experience here.
Thank you, Mark.
And they are into the pool. Both these athletes have time trial performances that they're going to try to compare themselves to. Christopher Lofts coming in with a seed time of 5 minutes 45 seconds. Ethan Risley with a seed time of 6 minutes 15 seconds. And so we'll kind of keep an eye on each of their kind of their 2 length times there each time they touch up on the starting pad there to see how their how their split times come out. So you can see there after 2 lengths, Christopher Lofts at 28.90 and Ethan Risley at 31.46. So we'll kind of keep an eye on how their splits go. I know from my own experience in track and field, you know, any time you're competing for this length of time, it is really important to be able to pace yourself and to have those consistent splits. Obviously, we here watching the scoreboard can see their individual splits and how they may fluctuate throughout the race. Obviously, the swimmers don't have that luxury. They, you know, unlike track and field where you could look at your watch as you're running the race, you know, the swimmers really have to be disciplined here to stick to their pace and have kind of that stroke rate and really get a feeling for their pacing in a race such as the 500-yard freestyle. So we've talked a little bit about some of the season so far for our Verona Mount Horeb Wildcats. Last week we talked about how, in fact, the first virtual duel, our Wildcats were victorious over the Middleton Cardinals, the varsity winning 76-52. As a result of that performance, along with their meet in Sauk Prairie against Sauk Prairie and Edgewood, the Wildcats have come out as the number 6 ranked team in the Division I Wisconsin Swimming Coaches Association poll. It is the first poll of the season. And so you can see that Coach Bill Werger's got a very strong team, a top 10 ranked team within the state. And I'm sure as you can see these boys as they improve throughout all of these virtual meets and as we head toward the end of the month and looking toward sectionals next month, a lot of great expectations for these boys. And we, of course, are very thankful that we can bring you the action here as it happens at the Verona Aquatic Center. So as our 2 competitors touch up, they are at the halfway point. And you can see that in lane 4, Christopher Lofts on your left side of your screen has a slight advantage over Ethan Risley in lane 5 on the right side of your screen. These are definitely those tough laps. It's when those arms and legs are really starting to swell up with that lactic acid and the breathing gets a little tougher. You know, you can kind of keep an eye on them as they are swimming each of these lengths, kind of look for that stroke rate and how quickly they're able to turn over those arms. Kind of keep an eye as you see those split times there in the mid to upper 35 range. They are swimming length 13 at this point. So when they touch up again at the start, they're going to have 6 more lengths to go. So let's keep an eye on that split time and see how they're doing. You can probably hear Coach Bill Werger there encouraging both the boys on this toughest part of the race here, both physically and mentally. And you can see there's a nice split by Christopher Lofts in the mid-34s, so seeing he's taken a little bit of time off there. About the mid-36s there for Ethan. And as Christopher Lofts comes to the near end of the pool, as you would see it on your TV shot from time to time, he will have 4 lengths of the pool remaining. So in essence, 100 yards remaining in his swim. Once again, you can see his split time there, about a low 35. And Ethan Risley touching up there, a very consistent mid-36 from his previous lap. So as we get down to the final 75 yards of this 500-yard race, you know, you gotta think to yourself, if you're in the pool, this is where you're going to start to amp it up a little bit, and try to get that stroke rate up a little bit. You can see there, as by evidenced with Christopher Lofts' split time of 34.79. And if you've been keeping track, there's a 1-second drop by Ethan Risley. So they are in their final lengths here of the 500-yard freestyle. So Christopher Lofts is heading for the finish. He is most certainly going to swim his best time of the season thus far. A 5-second drop for Christopher Lofts. And as Ethan Risley comes in here, he is looking to drop a lot of time. Really nice swim by Ethan Risley. That is a, well, let's do some math here. That is a 23-second drop from his time trial time. So 5:52.05 for Ethan Risley. And a 5-minute 40-second .45 for Christopher Lofts. So very nice performances turned in by those two seniors. And next you can see up on your screen is in fact the 100-yard backstroke.
Up next, event 9, boys, 100-yard backstroke. In lane 4, junior Luke Bennon. And in lane 5, freshman Charlie Olson.
All right, so you'll see these boys jumping into the pool there to get ready to start the backstroke. And as they get started, in lane 4 in the lower portion of your screen is Luke Bennon. He has a time trial time of 58.39, hoping to better that tonight. And Charlie Olson, the freshman in lane 5 there at the top of your screen. This is his first 100-yard backstroke, so he is most certain to turn in his season best. And as you can see the split, Luke Bennon off to a very fine start, looking at his split time after 2 lengths. And you can see him touching up at the far end and ready to head for the finish. Charlie Olson about ready to touch up as well. So Luke Bennon in the final yards of his 100-yard backstroke swim touches up at a time of 57.09, besting his previous time by 1.3 seconds. Charlie Olson, of course, with his best swim of the year in the 100-yard backstroke. It is in fact his first, a time of 1 minute 10.11 seconds. And our next event in the pool is the 100-yard breaststroke. So this is a race of 2 sophomores, Alex Gundrum and George Rothamer. Both with previous times in this event. Alex swimming it last week at the Middleton virtual meet here at the Aquatic Center, and George's time coming in as a result of a time trial.
Up next, event 10, boys, 100-yard breaststroke. In lane 4, sophomore Alex Gundrum. In lane 5, sophomore George Rothmer.
So that pool record that's up on the board, incidentally, is held by Nathan Roseboom from last Friday. And off to a start here. We have in lane 4, Alex Gundrum with a slight advantage over George Rothamer. And let's see where they end up here at the halfway point of the 100-yard breaststroke. Kind of keep an eye on those lap times. So Alex touches up that first 50 in 33.53, so a pretty good amount ahead of his seed pacing. And George Rothamer as well in 39.05. So let's see what they have left for this second 50 yards. There you can see Alex touching up at the far end and heading back to finish his 100-yard breaststroke. George Rothamer also doing the same. And keeping an eye on that time, Alex Gundrum touching up at 1 minute 11.16 seconds. Just shy of his swim from last Friday. And George Rothamer finishing in a time of 1:22.74. That is approximately a 2.5 second betterment in his time trial performance from earlier this season. So here in just a moment, you are going to hear that indeed the final event of our session is coming up. And here we go. The 400-yard freestyle relay. And you can see the slow clap getting going, picking up pace. Of course, it's not quite the same when the parents aren't here. So we're going to be very excited for you all to return and really shake the rafters here a little bit.
In lane 4, the team of Nathan Roseboom, Luke Bennon, Chris Loft, and Jackson Penn.
And as you can imagine, we just have one team because there are 4 swimmers that make up that team. So leading off is, in fact, Nathan Roseboom, swimming the first 100 yards of the 400-yard freestyle relay. Of course, the pool record was established just earlier this evening, and I don't have it up on the board, or they don't, so I probably should have written that down for you. But we'll just wait and see if we can get a new record here from session 2. And you can see here Nathan Roseboom finishing up his 100-yard freestyle, and next in the pool will be Luke Bennon, a junior. And into the pool goes Luke Bennon. This team features Jackson Pent and Christopher Lofts, who are seniors. Nathan Roseboom, who is a junior, along with Luke Bennon, who is also a junior. You can see Luke's split time for his first 50 yards of this 100-yard leg of the relay. And as he touches up at the far end and heads back, you will see Christopher Lofts up on the platform there, up on the block, ready to take on the third leg of this 400-yard freestyle relay. And in he goes. Getting off to a quick start here in that first 25 yards. And you'll see his split time here individually as he touches up in 26.3. We'll be able to take a look and see how even his particular splits are as he touches up at the far end and heads back to complete his 100-yard portion of the relay. See Jackson Pent preparing to take his anchor leg of the relay, and there you can see his second leg at 28.30. So relatively even. Obviously, you go fastest when you're fresh. And spinning back for home is Jackson Pent. And his first 50 yards touches up at 27.61. as he heads toward the far end, he will turn and head for his final length and the final team length for this 400-yard freestyle relay. So we'll see if they can approach the record established by the team in session 1 of this evening's competition. And there they are, their total time of, I am remiss here, this is actually the first group to swim the 400 freestyle. So it is in fact,
3:40.90. Congratulations.
It is in fact the new pool record of 3 minutes 40 seconds .90. And so the last group in session C, or the third session, will have that to chase after to establish potentially another pool record. So this concludes session 2 of our 3-session virtual meet here this evening. So we'll see you back here in just a bit.
Good evening, swimming fans, and welcome to session 3 of the first annual Wisconsin Interscholastic Swim Coaches Association Virtual Invitational. Corona Aquatic Center site. The first event of session 3 is the 200-yard Medley Relay. Swimming in lane 4, the team of Landon Drapp, Avery Bloss, Angus Best, and Josh Slager.
Backstroke stepping.
And as Coach Bill Werger just announced, we welcome you back to tonight's coverage of the virtual swim meet in which the Verona area Mount Horeb boys team is competing in a statewide virtual meet as part of the Invitational sponsored by the Wisconsin Interscholastic Swim Coaches Association. And the first event is, of course, the 200-yard medley relay. Landon Drapp is completing the backstroke portion of the relay, each boy swimming 50 yards. Avery Bloss will get into the pool next to swim the breaststroke, and there he goes. You could see Landon's split there of 29.58 up in the upper left-hand corner of your screen. Obviously, each one of these strokes being uniquely different from one another, the times are a little tough to compare. The freestyle, of course, being probably the quickest, and some of these other strokes, just from the technique you have to use, being a little slower. So Avery Bloss swims a 29.09 for his breaststroke leg, and into the pool now is Angus Best swimming 50 yards of butterfly. So he will go down and back. And we will conclude the 200-yard medley relay with Josh Slager swimming the 50-yard freestyle. And touching up for Angus Best, a time of 27.22 in the butterfly. And there at the top of your screen is Josh Slager. And he makes the turn and heads for home. We'll see where this team touches up compared to our previous performances in the first 2 sessions to see who will have the pool record at the end of this evening. And you can see, there it is, a new pool record.
And that is a new pool record. Lane 4 with a time of 1:53.10. Congratulations.
So the team of Landon Drapp, Avery Bloss, Angus Best, and Josh Slager are the owners of the pool record for the 200-yard medley relay.
Boys 200-yard freestyle. In lane 4, senior Ben Wellness. In lane 5, junior Max McCarthy.
That's the Megatron! Take him on.
And getting into the pool now, as mentioned or announced, is in lane 4, Ben Wellnitz, a senior here. His seed time coming in from the Sauk Prairie meet of 1:55.56, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. And holding the lead right now in lane 5 is junior Max McCartney. This is his first swim of the season in the 200-yard freestyle, so that, of course, will be his season best. And you can see their splits times there in the upper left corner of your screen. And as they head back to complete 100 yards of this 200-yard freestyle, we'll make a comparison with their times to the pool record and see if anybody's got a shot at that. And you'll see we're pretty close. So we'll see how this second 100 yards goes to determine if they can unseat Connor Arneson of his pool record from last week, 152.07. And as they head for home, I take that back. We got 200 yards, so we're still swimming here. So we got one more time down and back. I was looking at the time and thinking, wow, that's going to be quite a record if they finish now. So it's kind of like the miler that runs 3 laps and not 4. So, and now they're heading back, and you can see it's very competitive. Ben Wellnitz trying to pour it on here toward the end. Max McCartney has a slight lead. It looks like he's going to hold on at the touch. And in lane 5, a new pool record for Max McCartney of 151.73.
And in lane 5,
Ben Wellnitz right behind him at 152.28. That is a 3-second plus improvement for Ben Wellnitz just from a week ago. So congratulations to both of those gentlemen and a very fine swim.
Up next, event 3, boys 200-yard IM. In lane 3, freshman Landon Drapp. In lane 4, junior Avery Bloss. And in lane 5, senior Connor Arneson.
All right, as these boys step up to the blocks, Avery Bloss is in fact the current pool record holder, so we'll see if he can improve upon that record tonight. He did that last Friday. So we've got at the bottom of your screen is Landon Drapp, a freshman. In lane 4, the middle of your screen is Avery Bloss, a junior, and senior Connor Arneson is in lane 5 at the top of your screen. And thus far, Connor Arneson has the better of it over Avery Bloss. It's still pretty tight, followed by Landon Drapp. This is, of course, 200 yards, and it is all 4 strokes. It is the individual medley, so it might just so happen that Connor Arneson is a slightly better butterfly in terms of his technique and his favorite stroke. Now they're all in the backstroke, so we can see Connor opening up a little bit of a lead over Avery. But we will see when we get to the breaststroke and, of course, the freestyle to finish it up. So touching in is Connor Arneson up there in lane 5 at the top of your screen, followed closely now by Avery Bloss. We'll see what happens here in the breaststroke. And in lane 3, Landon Drapp, starting his breaststroke as well. Looks like Avery Bloss is getting a little bit of the better of it here in the breaststroke portion of the individual medley, opening up a little bit of a lead. We still have the freestyle component left here, the last 50 yards. And we will see if Avery Bloss can better his performance from last week. He seems to be opening up a bit of a lead now as they head to the freestyle. Avery in the middle of your screen there. Connor on the right, and Landon Drapp in lane 3 on the left. And as they head for home, Avery Bloss in the middle of the pool, churning away. And his time of 2 minutes, 6.31 seconds is actually, I take that back, that is not the pool record, because the pool record was set earlier tonight with that time of 2:03.99 that you see. at the top of your screen there on the upper left, and that was already set earlier this evening. But Avery Bloss just cutting a little bit of time off his best. Landon Drapp and Connor Arneson both swimming their season best as a result of their first swim of the year in this event. So good performances turned in by all.
Up next, event 4, boys, 50-yard freestyle. In lane 4, junior, Oscar Best. In lane 5, freshman, Angus Best.
Well, normally when you have two swimmers, I suppose you would say who's going to turn in the better time, but in this case, they're both going to turn in the best time. Couldn't resist there. So in lane 4 is junior Oscar Best, and he does hold the pool record from last week. I am pretty certain of that, as he is one of the finest swimmers in the state of Wisconsin. And you can see he's already heading for home. Freshman Angus Best is close behind. So let's see how his time compares. 22 flat is, in fact, the new pool record.
And in lane 4, a new pool record. Oscar Best with a time of 22 flat. Nice job.
And Angus Best swimming his season best, a time of 25.39.
Up next, event 5, boys, 100-yard butterfly. In lane 4, senior Ben Wellman. And in lane 5, freshman Josh Slager.
We welcome you back to the Aquatic Center on the campus of Verona Area High School for the final segment of Session C. Just getting into the pool in lane 4 at the bottom of your screen is Ben Wellnitz, a senior here. And in lane 5, freshman Josh Slager. They, of course, are competing in the 100-yard butterfly. Both of these swimmers have time trial seed times from earlier this year, so we'll see if Ben can best his 57.07 and if Josh can improve upon his 118.38 earlier this season. And you can see from their split times there halfway through, they look to be well on their way, so we'll see if they can finish it off. And as Ben touches and heads for home here in his final length of the pool, we'll see how his time compares. And Ben's time of 59.26, just slightly behind his time trial performance. And Josh Slager looks to improve with his time coming in at 1 minute 12.17 seconds. That is, in fact, a 6-second improvement on his time trial performance. So the freshman making great strides early in the season.
Event 6, boys, 100-yard freestyle. In lane 4, junior Oscar Best.
So we have just one competitor here in this 100-yard freestyle. It is Oscar Best. He will try to go after Max McCartney's pool record of 50.36 seconds. And you can see he's off to a fast start. We'll see what his 50-yard split time is here when he touches up next. And he touches up with a 50-yard time of 23.26, which is well ahead of the pool record, but the last 50 is certainly tougher than the first. So we'll see how he comes in here. And checking our time up on the scoreboard there, it's going to start running. There we go. And as he finishes up the final yards here, those last few strokes, he is in with a new pool record of 48.49 seconds.
Oscar Best with a time of 48.49.
One could say that is the best time that has ever been swum in the 100-yard freestyle here at the Aquatic Center.
Counters, down to the other end, please. Counters.
All right, with that announcement for the counters, you know that it is time for the 500-yard freestyle. This is by far the most grueling distance event that we have here in the meet tonight. And you will hear we have 3 competitors in this particular heat. Earlier this evening, we only had 1 in the first session. Oscar Carabell had to go it alone and swam a very fine effort. And then in session 2, we had Christopher Lofts and Ethan Risley swim the 500. And so this session, I guess it's session 3. So I guess that means we're going to have 3 swimmers in this event. So we're just waiting for the counters to head down to the far end of the pool. You can see that they hold those signs under the water to help each competitor know where they're at.
Landon Draft. In lane 4, junior Max McCartney. And in lane 5, junior Avery Block.
So you can see the field is set. Lane 3, freshman Landon Drapp. In lane 4, junior Max McCartney. And in lane 5, junior Avery Bloss. And as we did before, we want to keep an eye on their split times. You will see, they won't, but you will see a split every 50 yards of this 500-yard freestyle. And so you can kind of get a sense of how they are pacing out this race. So Max McCartney is going to touch up ever so slightly ahead of Avery Bloss there. You can see just a differential of less than a second, followed by Landon Drapp. And so we'll kind of keep an eye on those times and see, how high they go. Obviously, it's kind of human nature. You get off to that fast start as you're fresh, and then that middle of the race, it's most taxing. Maybe slow up a little bit. That stroke rate slows down a little. Those legs are kicking not quite as hard because you've got to save something for the end. And so you can already see our times are starting to rise up just a little bit there. So we'll see in the next few lengths of the pool where they settle out. Just a reminder that the remaining meets in the Verona Mount Horeb swim schedule, we have next Friday, January 22nd, we have a virtual triple duel with Sun Prairie and Monona Grove. As you know, in a virtual setting, you can have it against as many people as you want since you're swimming in your home pool and they're swimming in theirs respectively. Saturday, January 30th, we are coming to a pretty quick end here. Normally the boys' swim season starts right around Thanksgiving. That alumni meet is usually the Saturday after Thanksgiving, and you know who you are who come back and swim as members of the alumni team. But we are already at the sectional time here in just 2 short weeks from tomorrow. And then the state meet is going to be held at Waukesha South on Saturday, February 6th. And so the boys swim season is coming to a pretty quick end, so that time to taper is certainly coming upon us. And you're going to see some of these performances, the times really drop. So let's take a look up at our times here. We've almost made it halfway through the swim. And so as Max McCartney in lane 4 touches up, you can see his split time for those last 2 lengths, the last 50 yards, in the upper 32s, and Avery Bloss in the low 33s. That is 10 lengths of the pool at this point. And in lane 3, Landon Drapp is about ready to touch up for his halfway point of this race. All of them currently ahead of their previous time trial performance. Obviously, these last 10 lengths are the more difficult section, as you are pretty tired at this point. So here we are, lane 4, 32.93, and lane 5, Avery Blossom, 33.36. So they are kind of settling in with those split times. So we'll see in the next few times they touch up, see if they can improve upon those times and try to build some momentum as they head for the conclusion of their race. You can see in lane 3 there, Landon Drapp touching up at about 37.5 seconds for his 2 lengths of that last portion. And you can already see there, lane 4, Max McCartney in 33.21, Avery Bloss in 33.58. So Max is ever so slightly extending his lead as they are completing lengths 15 and 16. You can see there that Landon Drapp in lane 3 on the left side of your screen is concluding length 14. So once again, as we keep an eye on these, Max McCartney heading toward 34 seconds. Oh, Avery Bloss throwing in a little bit of a faster interval there. So we'll see. It could get interesting here. These last 4 lengths of the pool are coming up on 3 lengths of the pool as Max makes the turn. So we'll see if Avery's able to close the gap in these last few lengths of the 500-yard freestyle. And there's the horn. So when Max turns, he's got 2 more lengths of the pool, followed next by Avery. And Landon Drapp in lane 3 there on the left side of your screen has 4 lengths of the pool remaining. You can see the lap counters there vigorously telling Avery Bloss that it's time to kick it in. He's got 1 more length of the pool. Let's see what he's got. It could get interesting here toward the end. It looks like he's closing the gap a little bit. He's got it down to a length, but I think Max McCartney's going to hang on. He is going to finish in 5 minutes, 19.39 seconds, followed closely behind by Avery Bloss, just a second and a half back. And Landon Drapp has 2 more lengths of the pool to complete his 500-yard freestyle. Avery Bloss taking off 23 seconds from his time trial performance in the 500-yard freestyle. We'll see where Landon Drapp finishes up here. It looks like he's got a chance to better his time. His previous seed time of 6:09.36, it looks like he's going to improve upon that with a time of 6:02.25. So the beauty of a sport like swimming is you're constantly swimming against yourself and trying to better yourself, and it's really great at this point in the season to see so many competitors who are bettering their previous times.
In lane 4, senior Connor Arneson. And in lane 5, freshman Angus Best.
So our swimmers are going to jump into the pool here for the 100-yard backstroke as they need to start in the pool. Connor Arneson in lane 4 at the bottom of your screen, and freshman Angus Best in lane 5 at the top of your screen. This is the 100-yard backstroke, so it's 4 lengths of the pool. Connor Arneson coming in with a previous time trial performance of 58.20 seconds. And Angus Best has yet to swim this event this season, so this will of course be his season best. And you can see there Connor Arneson touching up and heading back for his final length of the 100-yard backstroke. Kind of check in with his time there. Remember, he's trying to beat 58.2 seconds, and it looks like he's going to do that. A time of 56.83. Angus Best coming in with his, of course, season best time of 1:04.61. So I'm sure that Coach Bill Werger is going to be satisfied with these times coming down as we progress through our season.
Up next, event 10, boys, 100-yard breaststroke. In lane 4, freshman Josh Slager.
All right, so once again, Josh Slager is going it alone here, so he's going to really need to push himself in this 100-yard breaststroke. He comes in with a previous time trial performance of 122.58, so we'll have to keep an eye on that and see after the 50-yard point when he touches up where he's at in hopes of bettering that time. And for so many of these young swimmers, you know, especially these freshmen, even if they've had a lot of previous experience in the water, you know, swimming for clubs and you know, having different experiences in racing, there's still that kind of that you know, newness. I guess you could say the slope that you have, right? That slope of improvement that takes place compared to some of the more veteran swimmers. You know, you've got the idea that, hey, I'm a freshman. This is the first time I've really had an intense season like this at the high school level. Obviously this year being a little different, but I think generally speaking, you can see a lot of improvement from these freshmen throughout the season because it is a newer experience to swim at the high school level. So let's take a look. Josh Slager coming in at a time of 1 minute, 21.1 seconds. So about a second and a half improvement from his previous performance in the 100-yard breaststroke. So we have come to the point in our evening where we have made it to the final event. And so you're going to hear that slow clap coming soon for the 400-yard freestyle relay.
Freestyle Relay. In lane 4, the team of Oscar Best, Max McCartney, Ben Wellness, and Connor Arneson.
So this 400-yard freestyle relay features a lot of experience. Starting off here with Oscar Best, a junior who has many pool records and, as a matter of fact, has one school record. And so they're starting off with, I hate to say it, but their best foot forward here. And you will see that reflected in his split time of 23.99 at the first 50. So he will swim 50 more yards, and we'll get a chance to see what his 100-yard split will be. And next in the water will be Max McCartney, another junior. So there's Oscar Best coming in at 50.07 for both legs of his 100-yard freestyle. So junior Max McCartney takes over in lane 4. He will be followed up by senior Ben Wellnitz along with senior Connor Arneson. You can see Max McCartney's 50-yard split there of 24.28. So we'll see how he ends up here after his leg is complete. As he turns for home here, Ben Wellnitz ready to get in the water. And senior Ben Wellnitz swimming his leg of the 400-yard freestyle relay. This team, led by their seniors, has very high expectations this season, as evidenced by their current ranking of 6th in the state, with the first poll of Wisconsin swim coaches coming out this week. So they look to really improve upon that standing with a very fine finish to the remaining couple weeks in their season. So Ben Wellnitz finishing up his 100-yard portion of this relay, and he will turn it over to Connor Arneson. If you take a look in the upper left-hand corner of your screen, that was the pool record that was set just in the previous session. So we'll take a look at the running time. You can see there just under 3 minutes. So I think they've got a pretty good opportunity to break that pool record with this group. And they are a very experienced group with 2 juniors and 2 seniors in the group. So you might expect that pool record to fall, relatively easily. So we'll take a look at the running time here. Yes, you can see we're just at about 3:20 right now. And senior Connor Arneson taking his final strokes as he reaches for the wall. And the new pool record time of 3:28.20.
New pool record, the team of Best, McCartney, Wellness, and Arneson with a time of 3:28.20.
And he is one tired swimmer after a long night in the pool here. So as you can see, this beautiful facility here, this brand new aquatic center here on the campus of Verona Area High School, our 3 sessions this evening have come to a close. We always thank you for joining us, and we are hopeful that you can join us again next Friday for our virtual meet against Sun Prairie and Monona Grove. So we say good night and thank you.
Tonight's event. Have a great night and a great safe drive home.